So I think it's probably common to most areas that have got marine planning that you need to think about how the marine plans will integrate with the terrestrial plans in the adjacent coastal areas. So in England, where I work, we have local authorities all around the coast, and their jurisdiction tends to go down to the bottom of the shore, and marine plans jurisdiction goes to the top of the shore, so we have this overlap. Our legislation actually places quite a lot of importance on the marine planners taking all reasonable steps to ensure that the marine plan is compatible with the adjacent terrestrial land use plan, and that's quite a strong requirement. So the way we went about that is that we developed a methodology that looked at existing terrestrial plans and then aligned it with the National Marine Policy document that we were working with to identify which policies in their plans actually have marine relevance. So if they said something about transport that is relevant to shipping, have they said something about energy that is relevant to what happens in the marine area? As we'd begun to build our links with local authorities, identified a few who we felt could provide a bit of time in this process, and we used them as a sounding board for this methodology. We said, well, this is how we're going to approach it, what do you think? And they came back and said a few tweaks, and that looks fine. What we then did is that we wrote to all the local authorities, and there was something like 30 of them down that area, and said that this is what we're required to do, this is how we're going to approach it, here's the methodology. And rather than just give it to you and say, now you do the work, because we're busy, because local authorities themselves are under financial constraints, and because very few of them have a lot of marine capacity in the authorities, we said we will review all your plans using this methodology, and then we will roll that analysis back out to you, and then you can say, well, I'm not sure whether that you got it right or not. By doing that, as well as getting a product, which was an analysis of the marine relevance of all these terrestrial plans and places that we should perhaps say things about in our marine plans, what we did is essentially got goodwill with the local authorities. So we both established links, who is it we should be talking to in these local authorities, but also show that we're here to help, that we're going to help them to be involved in the process. Now, two things come out of that. The first is that actually is, in reality, getting towards integration of marine planning into other processes. Because if integrated coastal zone management is going to work, then you need the tools that are available to different organizations to be able to talk to one another. And in effect, what we were doing is we were ensuring that the marine planning process understood what the local authority plans were saying. And equally, the local authorities were then involved in our process as almost a key stakeholder, but actually more than that, in saying what they thought the marine plan was saying about their plans, and in some cases where they wanted to see things tweaked. So that's contributing to integration. But the second thing that's come out of it is we are now planning in the south of England, and we can learn lessons from what we did in the east. And we not only did the process I've just described in the east, but because we are thinking about the implementation of the plans once they're adopted, much more early in the process, we've been running sessions with these local terrestrial authorities, not just about, let's understand your plans, we're doing that, that's happening, but let's talk about what role you will play when our plans are adopted. Let's talk about how our plans might be used by you when you come to review your next revision of your statutory terrestrial plan. And again, through that, it's both established really good links, working with a very key partner in what we do, but it's also all playing into this idea of integrating these different tools at the coast, in this case, terrestrial planning and marine planning. Because if they're not talking to one another, your attempts to get integration across different mechanisms are just not going to work.